Alright, boys and girls, Mr. Brimley messed up a little bit, so he had to combine two videos, so just be patient. But we're going to be doing decimal division, and here's our introduction. We're only going to be working with decimals being divided by whole numbers today. So our first example will be appearing right now, and I'll explain it as we go along. Our first example today is going to be 3 and 8/10 divided by 2, or 3.8 divided by 2. I'm going to put over on the side here some keys. So a square, a larger square like a platform, is going to equal 1 whole, and a rod is going to equal 1/10 for my drawings. When we're doing dividing by decimals, we always want to do it with visual drawings first because that's the way we're going to kind of break it apart. So now I'm going to decompose 3 and 8/10. Then here's the trickiest part, so if you have to watch this more than once, make sure you do. You're going to be drawing a box, and this box is going to be divided up into the amount of groups, which is the second number in our division statement. So I'm going to divide it up into 2 groups, and I'm going to put my 2 digits that I decomposed of the first number on top. There you go, and I'm going to even show you that it is going to be 2 groups. You can see that I have my 3 wholes and my 8/10 on top. I'm going to divide up those 3 wholes and 8/10 into 2 separate groups each. When I'm dividing this up, we know that 3 divided by 2 is not going to work right away. So what I am going to do is I'm going to decompose 3 to 2 and 1. And I'm going to leave that 1 aside for now. But I can do the 2 and I can put 1 whole in each spot. I know that 1 whole plus 1 whole is 2 wholes, and I'll have 1 whole left over. The thing I need to remember, boys and girls, though, is that if I have 1 whole, ask yourself, how many tenths do I have? Oh, it's like I'm almost regrouping. So if I had 1 whole left over, I'm going to make that into how many tenths? 10 tenths. You can see Mr. Brimley just messed up on writing, but 1 whole is going to be grouped over with our 8/10, and 1 whole is 10 tenths. So, after writing that down, when I have 10 tenths plus my 8/10, I would have a total of how many tenths? I would have a total, after adding 10 tenths to 8/10, of 18 tenths, boys and girls. 18 tenths. I'm almost just moving over the leftovers that I had, regrouping it. 18 tenths. Well, 18 I know is an even number, so I can divide 18 tenths up into 2 groups. And watch what I do here. At first, I do mess up. I wanted to show you exactly what I'm doing. So instead, I'm going to erase these 5/10 that I just drew. Ignore those, please. And then I actually go back and forth between my 2 groups. 1/10, 1/10, 2/10, 2/10, 3/10, 3/10, 4/10, 4/10, all the way up until I do a total of 18 tenths. But in each group, what I will have is I will have 9 tenths, boys and girls. 9 tenths in each group, which adds up to 18 total tenths. Then, once I am done establishing that I have 9 tenths in each group, I want to add up my total amount in one group. So if you look closely, I have 1 whole and 9 tenths in just one group, and of course 1 whole and 9 tenths in another group. So in one group, I'm going to have 1 and 9 tenths, and that is going to be my answer. Now, stay tuned because right now we just did a 2-digit divided by a 1-digit number with. So example 2 here, 11.5 divided by 5. We're going to decompose 11.5 or 11 5/10 to 10, 1, and 5/10. I'm then going to draw my key again, and my key is going to help me to understand what each symbol is going to represent. So I have a square or platform, which again is 1 whole. And then I'm going to have a rod again, which is a line, and it's going to equal 1/10. I'm only going to need that for this problem, but if you ever have to use hundredths, you might have to. Next, I'm going to draw that box again, and I'm going to need to have 5 groups there. So after drawing out my digits, 10, 1, and 5/10, I'm going to draw that box, and you're going to see that I have to draw 5 groups, so I'm going to do 4 lines to make those 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and I have 5 groups. I'm going to show you those 5 groups on the side so I understand it. Here's where we start doing our division. So the first part, boys and girls, will be that I'm doing 10 divided by 5, which means I'm putting 10 pieces into 5 groups. And what I would get is I would have 2 holes in each group, 2 of my platforms. You can see it matches with my key up there. I'm writing 2 holes so I remember 2, 2, and 2. Next, I have 1 hole, but I can't divide 1 divided by 2 without making them into tenths. So I remember now, one whole equals 10 tenths. Remember that, boys and girls. It's going to help you a lot. 1 whole equals 10 tenths. So I can put 2 tenths in each one, because 2 times 5 equals 10. 2 tenths times 5 equals 10. So in one group, there will be 2 tenths so far and 2 wholes. But we're not done dividing up yet. The final part is that I have my 5 tenths, and I know that I can fit 1 tenth in each group, because 1 times 5 equals 5. And you're going to see that I did forget to put a 1 in the last one. It kind of just got erased or something. It might have malfunctioned. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Here, finally, you'll see that I am going to have one group, which is my answer, equals 2 and 3 tenths, because I added my 2 wholes plus my 2 tenths plus my 1 tenth. So if you think about that, 2 wholes plus 2 tenths plus 1 tenth equals 2 and 3 tenths. And that is our answer, boys and girls, for this problem. I hope that this is clear for you. Please remember, if you have any questions or concerns, this is brand new to us and you can totally do a Google Meet. I will be doing one today at some point, probably around 1, or I can do one in the morning as well. Thank you so much.